Good afternoon, everyone. Rise and shine. Today, we are playing nothing. Today, we're doing our podcast, and it's episode 25 is the official number that's hopefully going to go up on YouTube if everything works on this. So, we're leaving it as episode 25 for now.
It's Tuesday. We're not playing. We never play anything on Tuesdays. It's not how this works.
That's okay. We've got to keep people on their toes, Haley. My name's Adam. To my right is Haley. And underneath me is Tyler.
I am chthonic that way. I lie beneath. Good to see everybody. I haven't been on a stream since the move, so I'm in my new digs.
It's looking good. Looking good behind you, Ty.
Thank you so much.
Do you think we'll ever see the green screen again?
We will for all of the YouTube videos where I'm standing up. Those will be in a digital environment. So get ready for those.
Adam, I just opened the stream. I'm on your left. So.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Man, I can't. It was backwards. So you are on this side to me.
If I am watching the stream, I am on the right side of the screen.
There we go.
But I am on your left.
Okay, yes, that's true. I guess you are, but I was looking at it the other way. So if I was thinking about if I did this on the screen, you would be right, is what I thought in my head. So
I mean, I'm always right. So
unknown 25 mil. That is a good question. How do we know that Tyler isn't on a green screen right now? I don't think we can ever know for sure when Tyler isn't on a green screen, or just a green screen himself.
Just a green man. I paste a beard on top of it. Yeah, that's true.
Thank you. Chat's agreeing with me. You're on the right. So,
I said that if I'm watching the stream, I'm on the right, but I am on your left.
Well,
we'll have to talk about it like stage, stage left, stage right, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Well, the problem is unknown 25 mil. Unknown 25 mils in YouTube chat says interact with the background to prove it, basically. And I'm like, well, that doesn't help because he might have a green screen behind that background. Right? Like he may just have brought that object and that case into the green screen foreground. Who knows how deep the rabbit hole goes?
This isn't actually our living room.
No, it isn't because I'm not in the living room.
I don't know whose living room it is.
It's Stolen Mounts. That's the real kicker. All right. So today we are going to be starting with something called a heretic.
A heretic. We are, so just to set this up for folks, this is the experimental characters that we're now ranking, because I mean we just couldn't get enough of ranking. Somebody said something last week about us, this being basically too long of a series, and how dare they? This is the exact right. Until they stop releasing characters, we will continue ranking.
Which series are really too long? True crime. If we would just put an end to crime, we wouldn't have any more episodes. This is silly,
I'm down.
I think we should have more episodes of this series because they'll release more roles, right? Like once we get through these, TPI will be like, hey, we need to tell you some more. So
yeah,
in any
exactly.
case.
All right, so we are up to H. We've been going through them in alphabetical order. So as Adam said, that is starting with the Heretic.
But wait 1 second before you do that. We do have a question in chat, Haley.
Oh. Is that a Cthulhu dice tower, Tyler?
That is exactly what that is. Man, somebody called their shot on that one. Yeah, somebody 3D printed that for me. I've never used a dice tower before, but they brought that. This friend of mine brought that to me, and I was like, I can't say no to this, which is what doomed everybody that was a cultist of Cthulhu, if you ever read the Call of Cthulhu. Any case, yeah. Little statuettes. They get you every time.
I have never used a dice tower either, but if someone was to make one for me as cool as that, I would switch.
For real? Yeah, definitely. I'm going to make you a dice tower then and see if you use it.
No, I want a cool one, Haley, so good luck.
It will be made of yarn.
So no is the...
They're already giving us their opinions on the Heretic in chat. Guys, we haven't even told you what the Heretic is. How can you possibly have an opinion yet?
That's right. Tell them what it does, Haley, so they can have informed opinions now.
All right. Whoever wins loses, and whoever loses wins, even if you are dead. Do you want to tell us what you think, Adam?
Yeah, I'd love to. I would love to kick this one off because this is my stream, so it only seems right if I start it off. The Heretic is a lot is on paper a lot of fun. On paper, it is a great role. But some of the issues I have with it is that it has no mechanical way to know if it's really in play, right? There's no real mechanical way, apart from maybe a librarian, for it to know in play. And even so, like, even if you think about the evil characters that should get to know if it's in play, not that you'd ever really want evil to know, it even messes up with the thing. You can't have a spy in play with it. You can't have a widow in play with it. The pit hag can't be in play with it, I think. There are 5 characters that can't be in play with it. The Godfather can't be in play because it can't know what the outsiders are. It messes with the Baron in a fun way, where the Baron might only create 1 outsider instead of 2. I think that's a lot of fun. I think that's a great jinx. But the other jinxes that we've got out there, it breaks too many minions. It reduces the minions that you can have on a script or have in game at the same time, or else evil. Like, I don't even think those jinxes are fun, where it's like you can only have one of these characters in game at the same time, because that means you can't have them on the script. If you have them on the script, we've got a spy. Well, we now know it's not a Heretic game, and that's not fun for anyone. The fun part of the Heretic has got to be the not knowing part. It's got to be the fear that it creates. And if anyone has ever played in any of my early custom game scripts, I always try and create scripts that are equally difficult or create a puzzle for evil and good to have to figure out. And Heretic fits into that theme nicely. It just doesn't have a good implementation yet. So maybe it just needs a rework. Maybe it just needs a little bit more additional characters in there, or some, no offense, Steve, better jinxes. But it just needs something different, I think.
Yeah, I will. I think all of that is very valid. I just think at its root, it is good for the evil team as far as outsiders go. I mean, some of the outsiders we've looked at during this, during the experimental roles period, have been borderline townsfolk, and this one kind of switches that up, where if the evil team gets a sense of what's going on, if they find for some reason that the Heretic is out there, it has to essentially play like a hidden outsider, because if it comes out, then the demon could just kill themselves. Depending on your setup, if you have a demon that is not able to do that, like some of the demons we're going to talk about later, then I guess that's weird and not fun. I mean, but I think you have swayed me in terms of a lot of those different things, and where it distracts from the fun. But I do think it's better for the evil team than a lot of the outsiders that we've seen recently. So I actually am going to move it down to a B from where I had it initially. I had it as an A, but I think I'm going to say it's a B for me at this point.
Okay, that's good, because I think it's a B as well. I mean, so two against one, because I think Adam in his notes says that it's a C.
Stop spoiling my content.
I mean, you missed that in your bit when you went first, so it's not my problem. Yes, a B. For everything that has already been said about it, I mean, I've never played with a Heretic, but it sounds honestly unduly stressful on the player and on the good team. It, like Tyler said, it has to be a hidden outsider, basically. It has to be the most hidden outsider, because as soon as evil knows that's in, well, they just kill themselves, right? Which is insanely powerful. And, if there's a power in the script, they can basically kill their entire evil team in one fell swoop, and that's it. They've won the game, right? It's just way too stressful. I just don't know how much fun it really adds to a game. But with our outsider rankings, like Tyler said, it does work really well for evil, and it's just mad stressful for good, I think, for it to be on the script. Like, to not have a way out of your ability, in fact, I want to say all other roles, if you are executed, if you die, your ability stops working. But this one doesn't matter. Like, you have massive impact on the game state, regardless of your own character's dead or alive state, which just kind of feels a bit hinky to me when no other roles do that.
I think it's just to kind of detract. I mean, like the recluse kind of does that, spy kind of does that. So it stops people from just like running to the gallows, I mean, because then the Heretic is totally nullified. It's a pointless thing to have in the game. So I do like that it's even after death. One of the things I saw a lot in games where the Heretic became more prominent after it was initially introduced, was just basically every good player claimed Heretic, you know, and then the evil team didn't have a lot to go with or anything to do, so it became odd in that way, because what they were trying to do was bait the demon into killing themselves, because the demon, you know, the evil team couldn't really have much way to know mechanically whether or not a heretic was in play or otherwise. So it ended up just kind of becoming like a weird thing where it's like, oh, you thought you were doing well you weren't, you know. And then if good somehow figured out that a heretic, or they felt confident that a heretic was around, they had to basically help evil win. It's got a weird vibe to it, I think. But it is neat for a one-off, or if you're really feeling like you want to spice up your love life. Wait, that's the wrong podcast. I apologize. Yeah, B.
It's I think everything you just said, Ty, I don't see how you can still be giving it a B. It gives you you're telling me it's fun one-off. That does not sound like a B to me. I'm sorry, Ty. Like,
okay. But the thing is, it does what an outsider is supposed to do, right?
So when we go back to the original way that Jack did the ranks of the outsiders, which was the right way to do it, I don't think you can apply that criteria to this outsider, because if evil, does evil want a heretic in place so they can win instantly? Hell yeah, of course they do. Like, that doesn't seem like really what we're going for here, right? The only fun way would be with a heretic is maybe in a Leviathan type game. I don't quite, because they don't get to control the kills at night, so they couldn't just kill themselves. Maybe that could be a fun way to do it, but I just don't.
Is there a Jinx with Legion?
I don't know if there's a Jinx with Legion. I don't know if there's a Jinx or Legion. That would be.
I just wonder if that would be fun.
I don't know if there needs to be a Jinx with Legion. I think it can just work the way it is.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm saying, is that because you said there were lots of Jinxes with it, but I think it could be fun in a Legion script where the evil team is massive, and like difficult then to win, right? Because the storyteller's kind of choosing who's living and dying.
Yeah, I think I said it in my notes. Sorry, Ty, go ahead.
I was just saying, do we have enough C's? I mean, I know we're not a quota. All we have is the huntsman. Maybe we'll throw the king down there. I mean, I feel like after today we're going to have a lot of S's. So maybe it is best to balance out and toss this in the C. It needs I think you're right. I think I was this is maybe I'm in a forgiving mood. I think happiness has really fucked up my brain for this podcast. So I initially had this as an A tier just on the basis that it's really strong for the evil team. But as you know, you have to really build. It's one of these roles where you have to build basically everything about it. It is the centerpiece of the whole script, which is weird for an outsider to be. You know, all those types of different things. Just maybe it just needs a good old rework.
It needs a rework, or as I said in my notes as well, I think there's a good opportunity out there. I can't figure out what it is for there to be a damsel huntsman type scenario or a king and choir boy type setup to make the heretic more interesting. I don't know what that setup is right now, but I think there's an opportunity out there to do something with it. Even if it doesn't get a full rework, I think there's an opportunity to do something like that with it. So Tyler, we've come to the agreement of C together?
I think I've been swayed. I feel like, and Haley doesn't like it all that much. I think she was just giving it B based on the basis that it is good for the evil team, right? So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. C it is. Wow.
So we've got unknown 25 mil is on YouTube chat saying, I've never played with a heretic. Too many storytellers and players veto scripts with it, like the Atheist and sometimes Legion. Somewhat understandably. Another reason it should be C is all I'm hearing. Like, and they're right to do it. As we've already talked about, it just turns the game about the heretic too many times.
Is there an atheist heretic Jinx?
Oh man!
Or as they execute the storyteller is they just have to kill off all town.
Oh my god!
It's like that Stephen King short story, The Mist. You know. Anyway.
And Haley, I also just want to add, Haley, Kendra agrees with you that saying the heretic is very stressful. I fully agree with the sentiment.
Yeah, but Twitch chat, so YouTube chat seems to agree with us that it's a C, but Twitch chat has the complete opposite opinion. We've got folks saying that it should be an F for Fantasticist. We've got people saying Heretic is fun and they'll die on this hill, that it's terrifying and terrifying is good. Heretic in a Fangu game seems. I don't know, man. I feel like I'm with YouTube chat on this one. This is
Heretic in a Fangu game where it's should have been 0 outside and suddenly the Heretic's the only outsider could be fun, but
yeah. Well, and they know, like, that player now knows if they were the Heretic and now they're the Fangu, they've lost that particular particular out.
Yeah, but could you imagine it?
Interesting.
That whole game, you're like, we just need to get the demon to kill us. Fuck, they've picked me! I could imagine that being fun. Sorry for swearing, YouTube algorithm. We've hit our 2 quota for the day. Yeah.
All right. See,
I do think it's
Sorry,
more.
Twitch
I do
chat.
think there is a certain amount of fun. It's just hard to balance that with. If you played Heretic scripts all the time, I think I would just want to take a nap.
Yeah, for real. It would totally burn you out, I think.
Now, Haley mentioned something very interesting, a combination, and that leads us into our next role, which is Legion. Each night, asterisk, a player might die. Executions fail. If only evil voted, you register as a minion too. Most players, this is the most important part because it's in brackets. Most players are Legion. Haley, what do you think?
Oh, is there anything bad to even say about Legion? Honestly, I just don't know that there is. I cannot think of anything bad to say about Legion. So I hate being evil. Like, genuinely, I hate it. When the fabled roles are announced, it will make sense as to which one I am. I hate it that much because it's just so stressful. This is literally what I said about Heretic as well. I hate being stressed out when I'm trying to have fun and playing a game. I love Legion because most players are Legion. Because I'm now on the team that has the most people working with me. So it minimizes the stress and I enjoy being Legion. I honestly, I don't know what else to say about it other than I, as a person who hates playing evil, love playing Legion, which immediately makes it S tier for me.
Kendra's saying Legion paranoia is the best type of paranoia. Yeah, sure, it really is. That's a really good point. I don't think I'd even put that in my notes or thoughts about this. But yes.
It beats Heretic paranoia by a country mile.
Yeah, it really does. So when we first got to play with the experimental Kickstarter characters before they were released and, you know, kick the tires on them to make sure they're working, the Legion was the one I spent the most time coming up with a script for, or trying to come up with a script for, looking at it deeply, trying to figure out what works with it, trying to make sure that it creates a balanced, fun game that, you know, people get to have an experience of, is it Legion, is it not Legion, but also still give them enough information for them to figure out if it is or isn't. It's a tough one, I think, to build a great script around, because otherwise, because don't get me wrong, the Legion paranoia works on its own, but creating that really good balanced script for the solvers out there that really makes it work and shine, it can be a bit of work. But in saying that, it can be great still in a low or high information game, is what my investigation and multiple scripts attempt taught me on that, is it can be good either way, because, you know, it helps with that paranoia in a low information game. It really does something special in a high information game with those 3-4 players type thing, of the good players that now suddenly have these really good abilities. It's as Haley mentioned, it's great to be as evil. It changes the dynamic of the game as evil, where you're suddenly on the big side as opposed to just being on the little side. It's really great for that. I remember the first time I ran Heretic and woke everyone up for them to all be, sorry, the first time I ran Legion, and I woke them all up for them all to see each other's faces, and the smile that happened across the circle as they all realized they were all Legion together. I was like, oh yeah. So yeah, this is great. It's really the one downside, I think, in person compared to online is it can be difficult to track who everyone that Legion is, and you just need to point out to people that these 3 or 4 people are the good players. So just remember that if you're ever running in person. The one downside, I think, to it is it can be difficult for people to create that world build as to point to 2, because they only need to normally get 2 good players, maybe 3, on the block and out of the game. But it can be difficult sometimes to build that worldview to get that to happen when Legion's on the script. If too many people, like, if you've got 5 people suddenly saying this person's definitely evil and trying to convince the good team that that person's definitely evil, it can be a bit suspicious on day 2, you know? It's a good tool for a storyteller to integrate new players into the game with as well, with Legion, because you can get to give them their own unique bluffs, just so they've got their own world space where they're not going to create any confusion between the group, right? Like, so that one player can now have their own 3 bluffs just on their own, just in their own space, and they get to pick which of those 3 they like, because there's normally a lot of characters that aren't in play. So yeah, so in my opinion, I think Legion is a good S tier character, and it might be, looking even compared to the other 3 S tiers, it might be an S plus if we had that ranking. I think it's better than the Al-Hadik, the Damsel, and the Goblin. I think it could be better than all 3 of those in terms of what it brings to the game.
Oh man, guys, y'all are so off base. No, you're not. So I was thinking about this as you were talking about some of those things, and some of my best experience playing Clocktower have been as Legion, and a lot of those I've won, a lot of those I've lost. I've played Legion like a lot more than I play other scripts for some reason. But one of the things I really like about Legion the most that wasn't listed by other people, or the Haley and Adam here, is that it shifts the dynamic in a way that makes the good team the protagonist now. So one of the, and this is not anybody else's issue. I know it's a me issue. I've told it to other people and be like, you're just out of your gourd. But in Clocktower, the dynamic is weird because the evil team is the protagonist, right? They're the one who's outmanned, outgunned. They've got to sneak around. They've got to outwit. They've got to be out clever. And then yes, the good team is trying to solve. And so this shifts that dynamic where now the good team is the one who has to be, they're outnumbered. They have to see through what people are trying to do with them and manipulate them into doing. The Legion's only downside really is that it doesn't get to make any choices about who's going to be killed. So it's all about whether or not they're clever enough to have good run into that trap that they've set for them. But it allows you to have all of these, Adam talked about high information and low information dynamics, and both of those are great in a Legion script. But one of the things that I think Legion does really well is allow for some of these roles that I tend to go like, man, a lot of scripts, it's just unbalanced in terms of power. The Alchemist was an example we talked about. Lycanthrope is an example we'll talk about at some point, right? But these roles tend to be like, much more powerful than the things that are on other scripts. But on a Legion script, it's like, oh yeah, here you go. You can have an Alchemist run wild and it won't make a difference. I mean, it will make a difference, right? It can still make an impact, but it won't just throw the game, right? It won't make the game unplayable. I think that's really awesome to be able to let good players have these potent roles, but still be at a disadvantage and playing the protagonist in their game, which should be about good triumphing over evil and solving a murder mystery and all that kind of good stuff. So it pairs
Tyler,
really well with Vortox.
Tyler, you telling me you would allow us to have an Alchemist pit hag in a Legion game? I could talk you into that. Is that what you're saying? If so,
I have
sold.
that so I have a script called, which I think of all the base 3 scripts as trying to teach you something. I think I've said this before, but I won't get into it again. But so I wanted to create a script with a lot of the experimental roles that sought to teach you something about Clocktower, a version of Clocktower, and it's called Selling Promises and Potions. And yeah, it has a lot of alchemist, super powerful minions on there that were, they're killing and doing all kinds of stuff. And the Philo turns into the alchemist and all that. It's great. I don't know. But and still in those games, the Legion still tends to do very well because they can still be crafty. They still outnumber you. You still have to know who to trust, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, I think it's an S tier role.
Okay, great. We all think it's S tier. This is what a start to this podcast this week. It's wonderful.
Did anybody disagree with us in chat? Is anybody? I mean, I should be following.
No,
chat.
I don't think so. People are just adding in that like it's super fun with Poppy Grower, which I agree with. Lunatics also agree with. I've been in those kind of games. They are wonderful.
I did have a player who was selling promises and potions as a lunatic with a Legion. They were Lunatic Legion. And then there was a magician as well on that script. So Magician Legion. That particular lunatic wasn't super happy at the end of the game, but
I may have done that too.
But it makes it an outsider, which I think is the intent.
An atheist
we can't talk
well.
about. Yes, that's true.
Right. So and having. Oh man, it was wild. We can't talk about most of the things on Kelsa Priest, but we can talk about the atheist and Legion and Lunatic interaction on that.
Where you suddenly have eight lunatics who think
Eight
they're
Lunatic Legion.
and an atheist have got to go, no, guys, I'm telling you, this is an atheist game. It's brutal.
Yeah, it is very fun. And Tyler's point about sort of flipping the onus onto the good team, we've seen that as well in a Legion game quite recently, where so that bit in the role description, if only evil votes on the execution, it doesn't go through. We'd come down to last day and only Legion voted on this execution. And the good teams didn't figure it out. They just didn't, they were just blindsided by all of the other information that Legion had been feeding them the whole game. And even though they survived the execution, they were like, well, there's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing I could do. Yeah. And kind of hadn't worked through that. And so Adam was the storyteller in this one and had to end the day and have evil win just because good team didn't think about that extra sort of step of Legion.
That was a different game, just to be clear. That was a different game. Don't think I did Lunatic and Legion together, guys. Just be clear. Don't crucify me just yet. It was a game where Legion was all in play, but good hadn't. So 8 people had voted. So the good players were alive. We're like, well, I guess we can't change that vote now. So there's no point voting. They didn't even bother putting 2 on anything else, just in case. It was a brutal game. So we've got Unknown 25 Mil in YouTube chat is saying it's so fun with the Poppy Grower. Agreed. Absolutely agreed.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, there was a game on stream where when we first did Poppy Grower Legion, it was really fun to watch Legion. I was told by some of the Legion players afterwards that they weren't quite so duped by each other of who each other were, right? Mm-hmm. But it was fun to watch some kind of drop coded messages and try to see, feel each other out a little bit more, And I thought the interactions in a Poppy Grower Legion game were really interesting. There's a game where we played some of the playtest roles that I can't tell you the full breadth of it, but it was really interesting because it was a Poppy Grower Legion game. I had come up with a bluff that included other players in it, and it turns out that the role that I was bluffing was in play. And so me and this one person, Trisha, just trusted each other to the end. And it turns out I thought we were both Legion. She was good and I was Legion. And I was like, oh, okay, that went well. So.
Yeah.
But, I'm really into Legion.
Yeah.
So I
just don't have any bad experiences with it at all. Every game that I've played with Legion on the script has been brilliant.
Yeah, and I didn't get it at
only knock
first.
About Legion is that Legion would be almost impossible as a one demon script unless you had an atheist.
Mm-hmm. Atheist and lunatic then.
Yeah.
All right. So, yep, that's great. I put Legion up on the S tier.
S plus.
Yes.
So good.
It's up there 3 times to indicate how good it is, but also because Legion, there should be multiple of them. So, all right, moving on then. What's next? Next is, oh dear. We can skip over the next one if you want.
This is going to be divisive, I think.
All right, so here we go. Oh, I don't have an icon for it, so that's going to give me time to fix this. Next up is the Leviathan. If more than one good player is executed, evil wins. All players know you are in play. After day 5, evil wins.
Take it away, Tyler.
I know what's coming for me in the next few minutes, so this is going to be great. I really like the Leviathan. I think it supports Clocktower's basic theming, which is that it's a horror mystery game. I know it's fun as well, but it's supposed to be a horror game. And what you see in a lot of these games is good players being like, "Oh, just execute me, and we'll figure it out later," or people just
was that supposed to be, Tyler?
this will solve a world if we just kill you right now, right? We can just feed you to a cannibal. That's if you took it out of the mechanics of the game, you'd be like, that's horrific. That's pretty awful. We're just killing innocent people. You get to the end of the game and it's there's 3 people left alive. the last good player gets the demon executed, and everybody cheers. I was like, everybody's dead, but this one guy, he's like living in a wasteland by himself. Like, oh, what the hell kind of win is that? I think the Leviathan supports the basic horror theming of the game really well. That you can't just go around and execute innocent people so that you can figure out who's doing it. Like, it's almost like it encourages due process in terms of executions. I know the way it ends up getting played. I like the countdown. I like that you've got 5 days to do this. I like the announcement on, this is day 1 of Leviathan. All of those things I think are really fun theming. That is, it's Leviathan works very well in its it's not a base 3 script, I know, but it is basically from a base script of Laissez Faire, which was a TPI designed Teensyville. And I think in that context, it does very, very well. It's a single demon script, so it's like it obviously performs well in that. We've run scripts with it where it's a single demon script, and it works well in that. With bigger numbers, I think it does support a certain type of dynamic of information roles in which people get like an empath gets, an empath 1. Normally you just kill both the neighbors, right? Sort it out, one of them's gone. That's good. That's good numbers. Well, you can't do that now. Same thing with investigator, or we'll kill all the balloonist pings. Well, you can't, And I think that's interesting because you're still giving information to town, but they have to piece it together in a way that's less like just murder hobo and more, thoughtful. And I think there is an argument to be made, and we may come back to this later, where it would be actually a really cool fabled to do, like Leviathan as a fabled would be able. You could, kind of graph that onto a lot of different scripts and things like that, and that could be really cool. But in terms of it being just a demon right now, I would give it an A.
I'm gonna, so it should be me next, right? But I'm gonna hand this over to Adam.
Oh, thank God, because that was painful.
Because his face doing this.
Tyler, how can you complain about it? Tyler, which is your favorite base script out of interest, Tyler?
It's BMR, but everybody lives from execution. You execute them, they survive. That's exactly me. Okay,
it is the most murder hobo script out there, out of the base 3, though, right? Let's be very honest. It is the most, and you're sitting there going, "Oh, I'm glad it doesn't do murder hobo."
Actually, Trouble Brewing is by far because you execute them, they die. So the Undertaker can check me, right? You can confirm I'm not the drunk. The Undertaker's a fucking spy.
That's not a murder hobo.
Every time.
That is not a murder hobo. Murder hobo is just killing indiscriminately.
After me die. That is indiscriminate to me.
Okay, I'm going to moderate this discussion. I'm not going to give any opinions. And Adam, I think you need to say what you think about the Leviathan rather than just arguing with each other. The argument can come later.
It's trash. Now moving back onto the argument. No, okay, cool. So let's be very clear. I'm going to give Tyler a little bit of credit here because he deserves it. In June of the year 2022, Tyler ran for the first time ever that I've ever seen a full-size script with a Leviathan that worked for one game. Can't say it worked a lot. Can't say we've run it one game, but it worked for that one game. So Tyler, you deserve all this praise in the world because I've never seen that before. In fact, I remember there being a conversation on the official Storytellers Facebook group back when it used to exist, and there was, I don't know, 30 of us or whatever it was, 50, I don't even know how many of us there were, that were all having discussions around these experimental characters, and people on that day, in that thread, they were trying to make Leviathan scripts, and I don't remember of any of them that came out of it me going, that could work. Yours, Tyler, did, so give you praise that. Maybe I didn't give the other people enough credit. Doesn't sound like something I do, but maybe that was what happened. So let's be clear. As someone whose favorite script is BMR, the Leviathan is opposite BMR. If you want to take Leviathan game and BMR game, they are completely different experiences. So if my favorite experience is BMR, I don't see how or what on earth could ever make a Leviathan an S tier script for me as well. Now, in saying that, though, Tyler, You recently got a shout out as well. I think it was on Facebook or Twitter from the Pandemonium Institute about the fact that you like to create the thematics in your storytelling approach. You spend the time doing that.
Reddit.
Was it Reddit?
Oh,
It's Evan on Reddit. Yeah, I saw it this morning.
Right. So you recently got that shout out. I'm saying this on June 5th. I think that post was probably on June 4th is when Evan made that post.
It's July.
Sorry, July. I get to have second fireworks in my world. Yeah. So if you want to go read it, take a look. But he praised you in that for you creating that thematic. So maybe that makes sense to me as to why you like this game so much, because the thematic part of it is probably, if I'm taking myself out of Clocktower even alone, from a storytelling standpoint, the thematic part of describing the environment as a GM is probably the thing I struggle with the most, and it probably is something you don't struggle with. It probably comes quite naturally to you to do that, whereas I don't live in there's that audio description category of life where it describes everything that's happening to you. I don't live in that category of life like some people can do. So I think it probably does really, really bend well to how you like to do things and how you like to have that environment, because as you talked about, like, you know, you get to, like, you like the whole, this is day 4 of a Leviathan game, no one has died, like all that crap. I hate that. I can't listen to Tom on No Rolls Barred either, just to be clear. Like, it drives me nuts. I need to fast forward 2 times speed. Okay, we're done. Carry on now with the actual game. That's my worldview. So I think Leviathan doesn't lend well to me, full stop. And there's all those things. Doesn't work well on any script apart from one I've ever seen played as a full size script. I don't even like Layers Unfair that much. Sorry, Steve, I don't. So that's where I stand. I think Leviathan for me is a C script. It changes the gameplay in the way I don't like it. I like to be social, play by the seat of my pants, try and figure things out from a social read, try and figure it out from who's willing to die and who's not willing to die. I like to figure things out from who's voting on what. This is the way I play the game. Leviathan completely ruins that experience for me, so it's a C tier. Just for that reason. It's really not anything else apart from the way I like to play the game, the way I get the most fun out of Blood on the Clocktower. The Leviathan ruins that, so it's a C tier for me.
Wow. Okay.
I can't argue with somebody saying they don't have fun with it. I mean, if you don't have fun, that's fair. I feel like you're an emotional tier ranker. That's what I've come to know from this 25 episodes. Adam is an emotionally driven tier ranker, and I like that about you. Haley, what are your thoughts?
What? Oh man. So I don't feel like I can contribute to this discussion much, because my only experience with Leviathan was that script that Tyler put together recently, and it was a good game. So,
God damn it, Tyler.
S tier.
I don't know that I would say it's S.
Yeah.
I don't think it's C. Oh boy. I
can't believe this is going in B. Like, oh my god. Tyler, if I agree to move the artist up to A.
I think that maybe it would be better as a Fabled, the point that you made, Tyler. I do think that's something that can be considered as just to add something different to the game, which is the point of Fabled, right? To add something special, something different. It's... Yeah, I don't know what to say about this one. You have such differing opinions on it. Sorry, I'm just reading Adam's notes. It says, for me, it's a D for Dodd. If it was never created, I'd be fine with that.
Well, so if somebody told me I don't ever want to play in a game with a Duchess, right? Or a Fibbin, that takes away from my experience of how I like to play Clocktower. Well, that's easy because you just don't introduce that Fabled. But then if you have a bunch of people like, oh, I love the Duchess and the visiting and all that stuff, you know, then great, then you add it. And I think we're not ranking Fabled. I understand that, not at this moment. As a demon, because of what it brings, I think it is just so... There's another experience I have. It doesn't really matter much in this sense, but we did a great legacy scenario that involved a Leviathan and an ensemble. A lot of fun. And I think I just have a warmer place in my heart, the cockles of my heart, even for it. If you want to put it in B, maybe we can come back to it
Maybe.
in the rework phase.
I'm kind of
It can-
honestly leaning towards it being an A.
No, Haley, no. You've had one experience with this piece of shit, and you're trying to tell me it's A. Oh no.
I know. Okay, no, I shouldn't be involved in the ranking. Of
No,
this
no,
one.
no. I'm sorry, babe. I didn't mean to talk you down from that. If you wanted A, I'm going to now put it A, and no one can change that. It's now locked
I
in.
just don't know. Oh,
Man.
Tyler's making some really good points, but so are you, Adam. That like for you, it's not fun. That it does change the way that you have to play. But there are so many characters that do that. You know, there are different styles of playing the game. You've got solvers and social players, and it does kind of mess it up for a social player, but
It doesn't. But it's, I don't know. Let's just leave it as A, and let's. Oh my god, I'd be happy if we can just put this somewhere and then we never have to talk about it again. I'm also okay with that being the outcome of this.
But how does it fit into scripts, really? Like,
doesn't.
Do you have to be really careful? Because it sounds to me like you kind of have to be careful about the script that you create. So I'm trying to talk myself back down now.
You can try. So there's all kinds of things that can play for and against it. Like I was saying earlier, depending on what type of information you're giving good, it's gonna have a different impact. Obviously, if you have if you like Raven Keeper, Sage, Farmer play, Leviathan's not going to be for you. But if you take, a lot of times, if you have information roles in Clocktower, they pick a couple players, they get information. Unless an empath was just sat next to both evil players and got a 2, right now they're having to worry if they're drunk. But most of the time, if you got an empath 1, you just kill both the neighbors, right? Or you kill until the number changes. In this case, doing that is a liability for your team. So now the good team has to go out and find out even more information. They're not just relying on the execution itself as a way to determine things. And I just think that is it is different. And I know, and hearing from Adam, I think he has a strong aversion to it. So that's important. But I think it's better than D for Dud. I think for me personally, I like a good Leviathan script. Now there are some people who love it way more than me.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. Some of the CT people really love Leviathan.
I need someone in chat right now to come out and tell us, any one person who really honestly truly looks at this character and thinks, yes, this should be an S. I need you to put it in chat right now. Anyone, a single person. You've got 1 minute to do it while we continue talking.
I think if somebody finds Habulous, you'll get it.
I just want to say, Ty, right? So to the counterpoint argument, right? There are, like you say, there are not counterpoint. Counterpoint to my argument, there are people out there, like you say, that truly love this character. I can't believe anyone really thinks this is an S, but there are characters out there, and you're right, it does bring that thematic element. People do like it. We can see from the No Rolls Barred video, some people do like that kind of content, so maybe it deserves to be higher than I'm saying. So I'm okay with it. I don't want it to be an A, but this is the downside of us having too narrow of a script pool, right? A category, ranking pool, that it means that I don't really have an option to justify why it should be in B or C because we go all the way down to F. But if it's going to be an A because that's the balanced ground as to where it sits, then that's where it goes.
I think Jams really disagrees with us on Legion.
On Legion?
Yeah. Thinks that Leviathan is better than Legion, which, I mean, that's impossible for us to put it above an S.
S++ for Jams. Well, we will circle back around to this, see if anybody answers Adam's call for defending Leviathan, other than myself.
Jams is doing it. Jams is doing it. Jams is trying to do it. We'll give Jams a minute to keep ranting about so I can come back to them and have a look and read and see why they're wrong.
While they're doing that, Haley, you want to tell us?
Jams is playing with us in person tonight, but yes, I will move on to the next one. So we're going to fight it out, Jams.
Yeah, I'm going to go create a Leviathan script that's trash just for you, Jams, tonight.
All right, so next role, I feel like this is one that's everybody's favorite, right? Is Lil Monsta. Each night, Minions choose who babysits Lil Monsta's token and is the demon. A player dies each night. +1 minion.
So, thank you, Haley, for handing that over to me so graciously. So, is there anything better that Amy, who used to be part of the TPI, has done for the Blood and the Clocktower community than create Lil Monsta? I know a lot of people like SAO standard Amy order of ranking their scripts, but oh my god, the Lil Monsta is still better than that. Lil Monsta is amazing. Lil Monsta is fantastic because I think we all know that 9 times out of 10, the true power for the evil team comes from the minions, not the demon itself. The true power for the evil team comes from the abilities that minions get to add to the game. And oh my god, we're adding an extra minion ability? Hell yeah. So for me, it's a really great script. It gives the storyteller agency over who to kill, so they get to create a perfectly balanced game if they can. Like it's a great situation for that. We've got the extra minion in play. In person, I've done this. I think I've only done this once, maybe twice. But making a player actually have to hold the Lil Monsta token is just brutal. And do you know when you talk about those pressure plays, like those things that can really make people sweat? Suddenly having to look after this token, because I'll also have a chat with them and be like, if you bend that, I will make you buy me a new one. And you can't buy me a new one yet. But it's a beautiful, beautiful moment that makes me warm to my soul. Lil Monsta is amazing. I don't think it's possible for there to be a more flexible demon because it can move every night, right? Oh, little bit of shade coming Tyler's way. I guess we give it to Haley tonight. If we talk about like, it's the fun nuts bolts of the game is creating those extra, is having that extra minion ability. But if I was evil and I had to pick a demon to be in play, I am probably picking that Lil Monsta. If I had to pick one demon, one single demon, as much as we just fucking wax lyrical over Legion, if I had to pick one demon for there to be in play, I get to have a minion ability. I get to move that demon around. I don't think there would be a single demon I would pick over Lil Monsta. So it's S tier for me.
Okay. Tyler?
You know, I would, for some reason, I don't know what it is, because everything you just said is accurate. When I saw this and we were doing the rundown, there's something about it. I just kind of felt like this sourness towards it. Maybe I've seen Lil Monsta too much. Maybe it has maybe I've heard more complaints from those players who are evil about how they're not getting to pick the kills and that kind of thing. Maybe that has kind of affected I still think it's a very high ranking role. I think it still is all the things that you just listed. I think it is very fun. And obviously it's going to be predicated on the strength of the minions that you have on the script. The better they are, the better the team is. I do think of all of these, of all the really good roles, it is one that I would consider doing a little bit of a modification on. I think it would be great if the person who held the token was the one who got to decide the kills, but in return, maybe they lost the use of their minion ability that night, or for as long as they held the token, you know? And then they pass it around and do all that kind of stuff. That can lead to some deduction if you have certain loud types of minion roles on the script of Serenovus, pit hagging, all that kind of good stuff. But in general, based on what it is right now and how great it is and how fun it can be for a lot of players to play, and there's a camaraderie that comes from being like, who's going to hold it, you know? And then you've got this. It does elevate the pit hag. I feel like anytime there's a pit hag on a script with a Lil Monsta, they become the team captain all of a sudden, you know, which is what they always wanted to be anyway. It's why they're such dicks as minions. Anyway, I gave it an A, but I think you're right on all those points, so it's hard not to make it an S. I don't know why. I had a vibe.
I have a similar vibe about Lil Monsta as well. I don't know why, though. I really cannot articulate why. I kind of like the idea of the minion losing their ability. Imagine it on a psychopath game. Like that psychopath is never going to want that token. And there's something about an in-person game about waking them up and having like everybody point at each other. It's like the
Who's sat up
Spider-Man,
there?
right?
Who's up there?
I mean, they're on a ladder. That's where they wanted to sit. Like, we don't make judgments on where people choose to sit. There's I don't know. I like it when roles add that additional layer of interaction between characters, and evil teams can quite often just go a bit rogue, and they don't really have to pay attention. This is just a hand out of nowhere. Tyler's head. Evil. This like it brings the evil team together. Like if everybody else. So if it was a psychopath, for example, who definitely does not want that token, if there was this modification on it, like the rest of the team gets saying, no, you have to take it. We're not doing it. Yeah.
We talked about running. We've talked in the past about running some games on Thursday nights where we change the rule of something just a little bit to see how it plays or how it plays differently, right? Maybe that is a good test for the Little Monster, because I gotta say, I feel like when we did that test where it was on, I can't remember why it came to be, but I remember we did the thing where the Little Monster could grow up.
It was a kind of a callback to a legacy script I'd done where it happened over a couple games. But that was an idea that kind of spawned out of that a little bit.
Yeah, I gotta say, I feel like that was a little bit too harsh on good. I feel like evil stomped in that game, if I remember correctly. But I think maybe it losing its ability and getting to direct to kill, maybe that is the counterbalance to keep a balance on all these extra minion abilities that are now in the game. The counterbalance right now is that evil doesn't get to choose their kills. So I think that, I think that's a good counterbalance. Anyone who's saying negative about that, and there are a couple of people in chat talking negatively about that, and you mentioned people have come negatively about that. That is the same counter argument for Legion. Legion doesn't get to pick their kills. Same thing. But I do understand there's a difference because there is more Legion in the game, so therefore Legion expects to die often. Yeah.
That's what I was saying. So I think it is about expectations. When Legion go into that, they go, "Yeah, man, we're gonna all die at night, and I'm gonna tell everybody else the fuck, that." And then it's like when you wake up in a Little Monster game and the storyteller killed, the Devil's Advocate, because yes, it balances it. People have this sense. I'm not saying they're right. I think they're wrong because you got a lucky draw. You pulled the Devil's Advocate in a Little Monster game. You didn't. I mean, yes, people play to different degrees, but there's a lot of like, I earned this, and I was like, yeah, sort of. Anyway, but a lot of times you would kill that Devil's Advocate there to keep the game from becoming just a automatic squash, right? That is disappointing for people because they don't have that expectation and they're losing something. Human psychology is just dumb. That's what I've come to learn from from talking about this. They lost something that in Legion they haven't lost anything. They've just gained credibility, right?
Yeah.
So that's the difference.
They've gained someone backing them up. Yeah.
Yes. That's how it works.
Damn it! I had a thought. I had a whole thought.
Adios.
Do we want to end there? We have one more on the list.
It is 7:50. It is 11:50. 1:57. Oh my god, I can do times. It is 7:57, 11:57, and 1:57,
sure?
all at the same time, depending on where you are in the world.
It was also June, so.
So I think we ended there. So where are we putting this Little Monster? Let's finish that up.
Oh man, I think it probably.
If you guys can't decide, it's going S. Just to be clear. If you guys.
I do think
I thought it was A, but if you want to move it up to S, that's in chat's behind you, then I think that's a good pull.
Some of them are.
Some of them are.
YouTube, let's take a look. Let's take a look through. Unknown 25 mil. Going to be sad when Legion ends up as D because only Legion voted on it. Yeah. Kendra says, I feel like I'm the only person who doesn't love Little Monster, but I'm correct on the true power of evil being minions. Thank you, Kendra, for agreeing with me.
So my thought, it came back. I wonder if our love of Little Monster is because of our sort of plays to storyteller ratio. Mm-hmm. Like as a storyteller, you understand why sometimes evil needs to die to balance a game, and as a player that can feel shit.
Yeah, totally.
So
it can feel like all of those good plays that you did as a team, you know, your evil team, and you're like, oh, we passed it to this and we did this and I convinced so and so of this, are negated when the storyteller goes, well, I need to balance the scales a little bit because we gave you 3 very powerful roles, right?
Yeah.
And it's not like, well, the demon is also powerful, but you know, they're in a precarious position where if they die, the game's over. You just pass it to somebody else, right? So all of those things make it feel bad when the storyteller has to do what their job entails, which is make the game a better experience for everybody. Anyway, so I guess that's maybe the criticism that I have received, where people aren't seeing it from that perspective. They are seeing it, like Haley said, from the player's perspective. And I think that's the only thing that takes it down a little bit for me to the A tier. But you know, I think there is a lot of valid reason. It is a ton of fun. It's just a ton of fun. So
Yeah.
And I'm going to use our 3rd swear word of the day to be like, F those people. Technically, I'm not swearing because by F, I mean forget those people. They are all wrong. They don't deserve to be in a game that I'm running if they don't trust me to be running a game and making it as balanced as it could ever possibly be. So
this is the off-meta radio edit.
I think it's probably an A because I don't necessarily know that it would necessarily fit in with all scripts.
It would. Every single one.
No, I don't think it would.
Every single one. Every single one. TB, BMR, SMV, it fits on every single one.
So I had one more. I had one more interest. Go ahead.
We're at time, unfortunately, and it's still an S.
Powered minions. So I mean, I think barons are great, but you know, when the ones which don't really have an ability,
like
as
poisonous,
such, that
bit hags,
that
mastermind, evil twin,
get to act each night and so on. Like if you have a script that's full of those, like that's not gonna feel as good for the evil team. So I do think it requires appropriate script writing on
I
it.
disagree. Sorry, Tyler. I just want to jump on that mastermind. That mastermind, even that is incredible because you're changing the game. They're now trying to get the little monster killed that day, so that, you know, because the little monster. Yeah, I think there's a great opportunity there in Mastermind where you can still skip kills with little monster. Doesn't have to kill every night, and you get to then also create a play opportunity for Mastermind to do something funky.
Can't skip a kill. The interesting thing I think you could do. If you wanted, like we did with the demons, where we play tested them in a single script and compared the result, totally scientific. Nobody can argue otherwise. You could do the same thing with minions, right? Put a new slate of minions in to with a Lil Monsta game. So it's like the townsfolk, the outsiders are always the same. The minions change with a Lil Monsta as the demon every time. You could kind of compare like how different minions hold up, you know. What can you do? Interestingly, I don't think you can sink a kill with a Lil Monsta.
You can.
Lil Monsta says someone must die.
Isn't there a ruling that you can, like, if it's a Maya bounce can bounce to a dead player, you can still target a soldier with it, still target a sailor with it if they're not drunk. I believe there are ruling out there that you can.
They must die.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought that was the way it was changed to. It did change a couple of times during the.
A player dies each night.
So this is just dragging it down for me. Like
you could have a gossip, right? So it just says a player dies each night. So if a gossip kills or something similar, then the Lil Monsta does not have to kill. So you can do some interesting things there, but it would make it hard to do. I mean, it would make it hard for anything to come of a mastermind day with a Lil Monsta without a gossip, you know, killing that specific day.
Yeah, this is an A. Sorry, Adam, but this is because
stream's already finished.
Dragging it down. That's bullshit. People are still talking to us.
Well,
there's no way Little Monster and Leviathan should be in the same fucking tier. Fourth swear. Thank you, YouTube.
If you want to see more of our content, you can go to the youtube.com/offmetaplays. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can watch a stream live on Twitch at twitch.tv/offmeta. You can tweet at us anytime you want to. You wake up in the middle of the night and you're like, man, I got to go pee real bad. And I want to tell these motherfuckers, I stopped myself. You want to tell them what's what? Tell us what's what. You can go to offmeta tweets and tell us what you think. We love to hear it. You can join our Discord. There are links in all of those different services that I have offered to you. Thanks to Delta Whiskey for the recent follow. And if you watched us on the YouTube stream, I hope you enjoyed it. Love to see you.
And maybe I'll live tweet out our game tonight because, you know, we've got a few people in chat that are going to be there tonight. And maybe it would be, let's see what they think about
Live tweet out our game.
And Leviathans. I think I'm going to do it.
I think
That would be pretty fun.
I think we actually have some new players coming tonight, babe. So we may be playing TB.
Damn it.
So
I'll still live tweet out TB. Come on, this is me.
all right. Thanks everyone for being here. See you tomorrow when we're playing. I think long shot is the idea, but we'll see. Tyler, you in for tomorrow?
Horses?
Yeah, we're gonna. Well, I've got to set it up so we can play. Set it up on the table next to me and record it that way too.
All right.
All right.
Sounds very cool.
Formats. Fun.
Bye all.
Bye.
Oh wait, I haven't looked as if there's anyone to hand over the stream to.
Are you going, Alejo?
Alejo's not currently going. Sorry, Alejo, need to hand it over. Bye.